Welcome, everybody, to the Unquestionably Raw podcast. Tonight, we're talking NBA hot takes. We're going to kind of do a little early season look at the MVP race, some of the top rookies, as well as our top 5 team power rankings. And I want to start out by first thanking everybody that's been a loyal listener who's watched on iTunes or watched on YouTube and listened on iTunes. We have hit number 1 on iTunes podcast. We are currently number 1 in the sports and recreation ranking. So thank you to everybody that's downloaded, listened, subscribed. If you have not done so already, please go subscribe. Please like our videos on YouTube and tell a friend. So that way every person counts. So that way we can get more 5-star written reviews. And please leave one if you can. So that way we can continue to be highly ranked and bring you great content week after week. So, but getting into the first topic, Gonzo, I want to go to you first. Steph Curry breaks the 3-point record in a game. Single game record was 12, held by Daniel Marshall. He gets 13 3-pointers, shot 13 for 17 from 3-point range, and scored 46 points to beat the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you think of Steph Curry's feat?
I think that it's befitting, but he was playing the Pelicans. I mean, you don't have anybody on that team but Anthony Davis that can stick anything. what do you expect? I mean, I'm quite sure Tim Frazier can't stick Steph Curry and Buddy Hield and I don't know. The Pelicans are so bad on D. I'm quite sure a few other people. I think Rodney Hood could hit 13 threes.
Damn. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Matt, I want to hear what you think about Steph breaking the record.
I was extremely impressed. As everybody knows, I'm going to watch all these Golden State Warriors games. I've watched them all so far. I think what was most impressive is it's not like he was – I saw the highlights of Daniel Marshall's 12 threes. He was wide open on damn near every last one of them. Steph Curry was hitting shots with guys on him. Like, I think that's what's most impressive about what he's doing. And then that one Pete we were talking about earlier, when he split that little double team there right through them and just threw it up there. Cash money, impressive. Like, who does that? Pete, you're right. Who does that?
Don't forget about Kobe Bryant. Now, he kind of had the record tied.
He hit 12. Yeah, Kobe had it first. Did Kobe get it first? I thought his was in 03. Marshall was 2005, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so Kobe was, yeah. I actually don't remember the Kobe performance. That's why I don't remember. I'm sure he hit a bunch of contested shots because I saw the 81-point game live, and that's what he was doing. I was impressed in that one too. But I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I saw a little clip of Undisputed with Shannon Sharp and our good buddy Skip Bayless. They had Nelly on there, and Nelly made an interesting point. He was like, "I'm surprised he hadn't done this already."
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is he had such a bad game the previous game. You knew he was going to come out and have a better game. Just nobody could have known it was going to be this good.
Think about this for all you stat guys out there who look at shooting percentage. He goes 0 for 10, then 13 for 17. He was 13 for 27 in 2 games. He damn near shot 50% in 2 games, and he started 0 of 10. How crazy is that?
Yeah, he ended up hitting 76% in the game, but the Warriors ended up only shooting 3 for 18 from behind the arc. Klay Thompson was 2 for 7. Durant was 1 for 4. And Iguodala had a big fat donut.
Yeah, I don't know all year.
So, but Thompson ended up finding his stroke.
He did.
Points. So
he was. I think what was he? 10 out of 17 overall. Yeah. His medium range game is fine. I think his 3-point shot will come. I've said it on here before. I told Pete earlier. I think that he's just rushing. He knows he's going to instead of 19 shots now he's getting 14 shots a game. So he's like I got to make this. I think that's what's going through his mind to get his buckets. He's going to he'll average 22 once he starts making his shots. He can get 22 on 14 shots because the whole team is getting great. Durant had wide open looks the last game. He just missed shots. Iguodala, I don't think, had guys within 100 feet of him, and he couldn't throw it in the ocean.
He just can't knock him down right now.
No, neither can Draymond Green. I think they're just adjusting. They'll figure it out. I'm not worried about this team. Absolutely. I know some people are. The scary thing is this team is 5-2, and we're worried about them.
Right. There's nothing to be worried about this early. If they're struggling after the All-Star break, then we can kind of throw doubt out there. But
they were talking on NBA radio today. God, this team's going to be 20-5, and people are going to ask what's wrong with them.
Right.
20-5, and something's wrong with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Going into the NBA defending champions, Cleveland Cavaliers, they were the last remaining unbeaten team, and they ended up losing to the Atlanta Hawks. So with that, very surprising. Dennis Schroeder. I want to shout out Buddy Grizzard real quick. We had him on for our Hawks preview. He said that this year Dennis Schroeder was going to take a big leap forward, and he ended up giving him a career-high 28 points last night. Paced the offense perfectly. Bazemore ended up coming in and scored 25 points and ended up hitting a jumper from the corner with 7 seconds left to basically put the game away. So the Hawks, before that, had lost 11 straight to Cleveland, including being swept twice in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. Gonzo, what did you think of the Hawks' performance? And was it more the Hawks, or was it more that the Cavs kind of just took maybe a little bit of the Hawks for granted, so to speak?
I don't think they took the Hawks for granted. I think they made a few mental mistakes, and I'll get to that one point in a minute. But I think Dennis Schroeder is perfect for this team. The way it was one play, I think in the third quarter, he was on a fast break. He kind of slowed the pace down and went into the corner and passed the ball. He passed the ball into I think it was either Millsap or Dwight Howard, and he ran back out to the perimeter. They threw the ball back out to him, and he hit Muscala wide open in the corner for a three. It's just he knows how to slow it down when he needs to, and he knows when to pick up the pace when he needs to.
He's kind of like a much more under control Rondo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you something. This is one of those teams I think that could be a tough matchup. See, if you notice, Cleveland doesn't get these type of matchups in the playoffs. They usually get very, very, very easy competition. They're not playing good teams, so the road for them is usually easy to the finals. If they play somebody like the Hawks, they might actually struggle. Like, first of all, Kyrie can't stick anybody. Schroeder can take Kyrie to the rim every time, and they can do the same thing to each other. Cancel each other out. Muscala, let's be honest. Hey, he was hustling last night. He actually played decent. I like the fact that Dwight Howard, he's not doing too much, but he's grabbing those boards. Millsap is playing his role. Everybody's doing a little bit of something to make the team better. I like Cephalosha coming off the bench. I like Bazemore. It's just everybody's doing just enough to contribute, and they could be really successful down the road. Now with Cleveland, this is one thing about Cleveland. I think Cleveland gets away with murder on the basketball court with the officials.
Oh yeah, they do.
They can be more aggressive, and they don't get calls for
like what happened in the finals against Golden State.
Yeah, they're allowed to do things that other teams aren't, and I think that's just an advantage of having the best player in the world on your team. But I've always questioned that. That's where a lot of people say the game is rigged, and I question the integrity of basketball at times because I shouldn't just get these calls because the best players on my team. I shouldn't get this call because there's superstars on my team.
I don't. I
should be.
What about though? Like, because we watch games, you saw like you get against the Pelicans. Steph Curry will get raped going to the basket. He shoots a shot, gets hammered on the arm, no call. But if that's LeBron James, he's a 2-time MVP, doesn't get. But LeBron James and his teammates, Kyrie, they're going to get that call.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're getting calls when they're not even getting touched. But long story short, I think Atlanta was very good using that defensive aggression that Cleveland has against them, especially when I think the third quarter was almost over. And Keaton Bazemore, right before half, they were trying to play tight D on. He threw his hands up and got those 3 free throws on a foul call at the end of the third, which I think either tied the game up or put him up by 1. But he nailed those free throws. Those type of things, Atlanta was good at capitalizing on. They got those little extra points. Like I said, they're spreading the work around, so nobody's getting too tired, overworked, and broken down. It's evenly spread around. It's almost like watching like a Spurs basketball game. I like Atlanta. I like Coach Bud, man. He's good.
Yeah, he's one of the best coaches.
And the thing about it is their best perimeter shooter was out due to the birth of his third child in Kyle Korver.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, the defense having to play up on Korver because, he'll get some wide open looks, and especially from the corner, and you take that away and they still beat Cleveland. So I'm excited to see the next matchup, see what the Hawks can do.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what did you kind of see?
I just looking at when you look at the numbers, I'm going to point out just a couple things. I'll keep this quick.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving and J.R. Smith, the backcourt, shoot a combined 13 for 40. That's big. And then off the bench, Channing Frye's 5 of 15. Atlanta can't bank on that again. That those guys are going to shoot a combined, 13 for 40, then you add another 15, 5 for 50. They can't bank on those three really good shooters shooting that poorly. You don't want to rely on that. But here's the thing. Look at Tristan Thompson's numbers. He did nothing. That's all Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard has been fantastic for this team. He's much better defensively for this ball club than Al Horford was, and I think that is the one difference that I was mentioning you in the pre-show. That is exactly the difference of this team. Dwight Howard on the defensive end in this matchup. That's the one factor that really was not there last year against this team. And Howard is happy now. He's not really demanding the ball.
Right.
It's a team concept, that's why I think it was never about him getting the ball in L.A. and in Houston. It was about playing with guys who didn't pass, and then when it was time to play defense, they gave a half-assed effort. And Howard's been a former defensive player of the year, a guy you usually are going to count on to give you an effort on the defensive end of the floor. He was playing with an older Kobe who wasn't going to play any defense, and he played with James Harden, who we know how bad defensively he was the last few years. So I think now he's playing with guys that are going to give an effort, and Coach Bud is going to demand it.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is Dwight is right around his career numbers as far as averages go. He's a little above in the rebounding category, 13 rebounds, little below in the scoring average, 15.6, but, gives you a lot more, obviously, in the rebounding category than Al Horford did, and he can protect the rim.
You know what? I think my prediction may come. He's going to be an all-star this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's right there. You've got a guy like Hassan Whiteside that's going to push to make the all-star team. So, Dwight has a very good chance to make it. Want to go back to what you said about Tristan Thompson. He ends up with, subpar numbers, basically for him throughout the game. He goes scoreless with 2 rebounds in 25 minutes.
Yeah. And
that's a bad Khloe Kardashian curse.
Well, you can. That's a fair point because we've seen what the Kardashian curse, we've seen what it does. But here's what's interesting. Dwight Howard, a motivated Dwight Howard is a problem for undersized Tristan Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
He's used to going against, you go against Draymond Green. Yeah, Green plays hard, but he's small. You know what I mean? He's going against all these. Now he's got a motivated Dwight Howard who, when motivated, was maybe the best defensive big guy in the league. He's going to get rebounds and block shots. That's what Thompson's going against. He's just not good enough to go against him.
Yeah. Want to go to one of your highly liked teams, Matt? They've been
my Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, your Minnesota Timberwolves. They've been very disappointing this season.
God.
They're now 1-5. They lost to the Brooklyn Nets 119-110. The Nets ended up shooting 55.3% from the field and had 8 players with at least 9 points. That you can't have that.
No.
Basically, it looks to me, and I want to go to you first, Matt, since Minnesota's your team. That the team can't grasp his defensive schemes.
No.
Is that the only problem, or what else are you seeing?
I think offensively they're going to be fine. I mean, you see they're getting 100. They're going to be fine offensively, but I think that's what it is. I think they're just not grasping what he's trying to do. And maybe, that's where maybe I was wrong about this team. Them being young, they're not ready for this. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just in general adjusting to Thibs' coaching style. He's an in-your-face coach. You hear him on the damn side. You're sitting at home. You can hear that guy screaming. We could probably, when they tip off today, we're going to hear him screaming while we're sitting here, and we're not even watching the game. I think they're having and we know how young guys are. These the new age player that don't like yelling and screaming. And I think they're just having a tough time adjusting. Plus now guys like Wiggins and Towns are considered top tier NBA guys, they're really being game planned for. And even Levine, the scouting report is on these guys. And I think that's where the problem is. And, I'm not worried about Jang. Gorgie Jang is going to do what he does. But Towns has been really disappointing. I think he may be the big reason for this. His defensive numbers are not very good right now. And this is a guy who all of us thought was going to be better than Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Most of us thought that, yeah. I'm shocked. The fact that I put this guy in the top 10, this guy's not even in the top 50 right now.
No, and
Shame on me.
He's still able to score, but he can't rebound, and he looks disinterested on the defensive end.
Yeah, like I said, Kristaps Porzingis right now is a better player than Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, Wiggins ended up hitting a career best 6 3-pointers, but we all know that he gets a career high 36 points. Yeah, but we all know
defensively.
What is he going to do 2-3 games down the road? Is he going to settle for 15 points? He's not rebounding very well. He should be at 6'8". He should be, with his athleticism, should be getting more rebounds than he has been.
Absolutely. He averaged 10 rebounds a game as a rookie, and his numbers are down from that's inexcusable.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, they don't have Ricky Rubio, which I think Rubio, the benefit of him is able to get into spots that Tyus Jones and Chris Dunn cannot, to be able to make passes to get guys open looks. Tyus Jones looked good last night. Chris Dunn did not. He struggled a little bit. Tyus Jones is right there nipping on the heels of Chris Dunn for playing time. He ended up getting 32 minutes, ended up going for 12 points, 7 assists, and had 5 steals and 5 rebounds.
And if they keep losing, Tyus Jones is going to be in there.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, Gonzo, I want you to kind of talk about the Timberwolves too, but I also want to touch on a guy on the other side during the game who you have been really high on is Sean Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick has been killing it this season. He's playing both the 2 and the 1 because Jeremy Lin's been out the last few games. Just smart decisions. He's able to drive the ball, get to the rim. He can score from the outside. Although he didn't hit either one of his attempts from the outside last night, he is a good shooter and can put points up in a hurry. So kind of overall, what did you see out of the Timberwolves and Nets game last night, Gonzo?
First, we got to look at Thibodeau, right? We know one thing about Thibodeau and Thibodeau's offense is that he's never really been a really good coach that can teach offense. Most of the time, his plays, even in Chicago, ended with Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah pick and rolls, and Derrick Rose just driving to the basket. So part of it is coaching. Okay, I think Karl Anthony Towns is taking too many jump shots. That's one of the reasons why his rebound totals are not up. He's not posting up like he was last year. He's taking a lot of threes and a lot of long twos now. Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, he had an outbreak last night, but I still go back to the first game when they played Memphis. Vince Carter locked him down in the fourth quarter. He didn't score a point when they put Vince Carter on him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's due to the fact that his body is very slim and he's not as strong. So he probably won't get into the lane. I think they got a lot of talent, but there are a lot of bad pieces put together. Tyus Jones should have been playing since last year. Tyus Jones was lighting it up in preseason last year. The guy looked better than any point guard they had on the depth chart. He was hitting jumpers. He was getting assists. I remember they played the Bulls in preseason. He had like 20 against the Bulls in preseason. Was breaking them down off the dribble. He was coming off pick and rolls, hitting threes. He was passing the ball. He was doing a really, really good job. Honestly, right now, due to the fact that he can shoot, he shows he can get some assists. He shows he can get some steals. Why not start him?
Right.
Why not start him? You're waiting on Chris Dunn to develop. I think Tyus Jones is coached better. He also came from Duke. He comes from a good coach, so that kind of helps. You know what I'm saying? Some players are also coached by great. This is where coaching comes into play, even in college. This is what I'm trying to say. You can coach. Sometimes that coach's mentality can rub off on you. Let's look at Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving he's a good player, but he was coached by who? Coach K. He has the little toughness. We can go to Grant Hill. Grant Hill in the NBA. Grant Hill was a tough player in the beginning. He was really, really good. Let's look at Lou Alding. Went to Duke. Hey, Lou Alding at one point was all-star, right? An all-star caliber player. Tyus Jones, same thing, had a heck of a championship game. He played great in the championship game. Him and Grayson Allen played wonderful.
Yeah.
I believe, wasn't Tyus Jones the MVP of the tournament?
I believe so. I should know this because I'm a Duke fan.
He was the most outstanding player. Yeah. But it just goes to show you he's battle tested. He can do this. Why not put this guy in now? What are you waiting on? You got Rubio. You can have Rubio coming off the bench. Tyus Jones can spark the offense and direct traffic a little bit. You know?
Trade Chris Dunn and get something you might need because I'm sure
Actually, I would go for trade Rubio once he gets healthy. You can let Dunn develop off the bench. He can kill second units.
Yeah.
And get a feel for the game. And then if Tyus Jones doesn't work out in the long term, you still have Dunn, kind of as your point guard of the future. And if Jones works out and Dunn gets disgruntled, you can trade him later for some pieces. So I don't understand at all what, Thibodeau is doing. And it's showing right now that many people that had Minnesota, sneaking some wins in, including myself,
we were stupid,
like shaking their heads right now because it's like, what is going on with this team? But want to kind of segue into another bad team, and I don't get why Anthony Davis is just not going to management and saying we've got to do something else. He was interviewed, and basically he's like, no, we don't need to make any changes. We're fine. And I guess, all great players want to believe that and say the right thing, but this team is just awful. You've got Buddy Hield, who potentially could put up 25 points a game if he was to start. He's hitting most of his shots, two-pointers, good percentage, but his threes are off. But you're still starting E'Twaun Moore over Buddy Hield. Now is the point. You're 0-8. Start Buddy Hield. Get some kind of, offense going early. Gonzo, what are you seeing out of New Orleans?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, it's Anthony Davis and everybody else, and I think he's not really going to complain because he doesn't want that. He doesn't want people to have that perception of him that he's a complaining superstar. I think he wants to prove that he can do this with the guys that he has. I like the toughness, and I like the mentality. But in reality, New Orleans Pelicans they're a lottery pick team. Period. Mm-hmm. They're a bad combination of players put together with Anthony Davis. It's just a really, really bad team. I could take them and put them in the East, and the Philadelphia 76ers might be better.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what are you kind of seeing out of the Pelicans?
I think, to touch on why Anthony Davis hasn't gone to management, said you got to do. What can they do? They have the only tradable asset they have is Buddy Hield because the other guys are hurt. Nobody's taking those hurt guys. Nobody's going to gamble on Holiday. Nobody's going to gamble on Tyreek Evans. You have no tradable assets. So They can't really do much. And Buddy Hield, I don't think they'd trade anyways because we talked about it earlier. Thanks to Julian Lomenzo for making an interesting point. He's shooting 46% on his medium-range shots. He's going to be fine. His playmaking is a lot better than we thought it would be. The three-point shot will come around. He's getting open looks. He'll adjust. He'll be fine. He's not going to be Ben McLemore. But I think that's the problem with this. They just have no talent, and they can't make any trades. It'll be interesting. They're saying, I guess, in the next couple of weeks, Holiday could be back. So let's see what they can do with Holiday. That gives them Frazier off the bench, who will be a nice addition to that second unit. You get Archie Goodwin. We'll see what he can do for that second unit because he's able to put the ball in the basket, get some points, hustle guy. He's going to play fast. Mm-hmm. But I still think they're going to be a bad team. They're a lottery team. They're going to be one of the 3-4 worst teams in the league this year. Davis is going to continue to put up great numbers and for a losing team, and nobody's going to care.
The thing about it I don't get is what is Alvin Gentry doing basically playing Omar Ashik still next to Anthony Davis. Just play Davis at the 5, let Terrence Jones do his thing. At least you can put up some points and, have a fight to put up. Now, with Ashik, you get nothing basically. Mm-hmm. You have guys that just don't fit that roster. don't fit the scheme that Alvin Gentry is basically trying to run, and it's all Anthony Davis. It looks great that you're putting up 35 points, and 12 rebounds, whatever, but you're not winning. When do they really get their first win? Is it going to be against Milwaukee coming up? That's basically kind of looking at their schedule like the best chance for them to win. And
Milwaukee's decent too. I don't think that's going to be.
That's the thing. Like Milwaukee's not a cakewalk, but it's like their schedule is just not many chances for them to win games coming up. But
no, they're not good.
I want to touch on a young rookie who I am very, very high on, Marquise Chris of the Phoenix Suns. He has made his way to the starting lineup as a starting power forward. He's kind of taken the job away from Jared Dudley, which was basically the plan all along. I think it just happened a little bit quicker than they thought. Chris is going to have a great season. He's going to have games where he fouls a lot, but just the athleticism, is there. And another note on Phoenix is they played Dragan Bender at the center spot, and he actually played legitimate minutes and looked good. He took his man off the dribble, hit a couple threes. So there's optimism there in Phoenix. Total opposite of what's in New Orleans right now. No optimism whatsoever. You look at a guy like Buddy Hield, and he's never gone through this necessarily shooting this bad. So I just hope his confidence doesn't waver, and maybe he can kind of turn it around and get them on the right track, and we'll have to see how it goes. But didn't want to take too long with talking about the Suns, just because we want to get to Lance's team, the Dallas Mavericks, and Harrison Barnes. Man, was I wrong on Harrison Barnes. I'm going to go ahead and say I'll eat the crow now, and he's been lighting it up. Gonzo, what are you seeing specifically out of Harrison Barnes, and what do you think long-term as far as the Mavericks' chances this season?
Well, Mavericks playoff team, I really would like them to be a playoff team, but I don't think so. But Harrison Barnes, he's showing right now on Dallas that he's easily a number one and number two guy on the team, and he's not just some winger that's just filling in, just for the team, like a third or fourth option on the team. The guy can hoop. He's good. He can shoot. He can drive to the basket. He can handle the ball. He can play defense. He's a good NBA player. Yes. I want to see once it gets like the 20-game mark, I want to see that can that consistency stay there. Now, if he's consistent, like after 20 games, then I can say, okay, now this is legit.
Yeah. Matt, how about you?
Well, I'll say this. There's a reason that this guy was the number one ranked player coming out of high school, and a lot of people compared him to Kevin Durant. We knew this guy had immense talent and it was all there, but, his motor wasn't always there. He's in his own head. But I think what's happened is you're seeing the confidence come out because he could always play. But, being in Golden State, he's a fourth guy, fifth guy on the team, scoring option. So there's not a lot of opportunities there. But now with Dirk being out, he's their go-to guy. And I think he's thriving in that role. It's actually helped his confidence. And I think the thing that did it for him was the first game of the season. Dirk gives him the ball at the buzzer to tie it up for three, knocks it down, and he's just been fantastic ever since. Like I said, I don't think anybody ever questioned the guy's talent. It's there. He's got all the tools. He can defend, he can shoot, he can put it on the floor, good athleticism, good size. He's got it all.
Yeah, he's averaging 21 points a game, 6.5 rebounds. He's playing about 39 minutes a game, but he's shooting 49% from the floor. All are career highs, of course. Eventually, a drop-off a little bit is going to come. He's not going to have the scorching numbers throughout the season, but he's showing that he can be a lead guy and kind of take over as Dirk is out with injury. Darren Williams is out with injury. And the funny thing is basically Barnes' shooting percentage with 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter and overtime is at 68.4%, which is telling me that he likes to take those clutch late shots. So definitely different than what he did in Golden State. Rick Carlisle's kind of putting him at the top of the key, allowing him to either go, for a drive to the basket or face up and shoot the jumper. 33% of his shots are taken from 16 feet or greater, which is about what he had in Golden State. But this time he's not camping out.
He's not just a spot-up shooter.
Yeah. And so the sky's the limit for Barnes, but unfortunately the rest of the team around him, and with Dirk Nowitzki and Darren Williams being down with injury, Devin Harris out with injury, I just don't know that they have enough to overtake some of the other teams in the West. I really like Dallas, and I want them to be successful because I want to see Dirk make the playoffs for his last couple seasons. But
I think they can make the playoffs if everybody's healthy. They'll compete.
Yeah, they'll definitely compete. It's just a matter of who can stay healthy and that for how long. Steph Curry finally broke out, last night, and so hopefully he can keep it up throughout the season. He can provide a scoring spark off the bench, but we'll just have to see what happens. But shout out to Lance, and hopefully the Dallas Mavericks can kind of string together some wins. Off the heels of Harrison Barnes and some guys like Andrew Bogut and others on the team. So want to go into kind of the highlight of our show. I know it's early in the season, but we want to kind of take a look at the so-called rookie ladder or rookie rankings.
Yes. We'll bring this to you once a week, guys. We'll have this updated.
Yeah, so we're going to go week by week. We're basically going to touch on our rookie rankings. We're going to touch on the MVP kind of race. And then we're going to do our power rankings just for the top 5 teams. Team by team, we'll do those. So I want to start with the rookie rankings. And basically we're going to kind of look at our top 3 rookies who we individually think are the top 3 rookies in the league. Matt, I'm going to go to you first.
Okay.
And if you'll reveal 3 down to 1 for me.
3 to 1. Well, actually, I told you I had a tie at 3, actually. Kind of,
Okay.
There's a reason I kind of slightly have one over the other, but I'll start with Brandon Ingram. I think he's had his moments. It's crazy to put him on there, but, the rookie class this year hasn't been great. 3, I have him this was my 3As, Jaylen Brown, and I got him slightly ahead of Ingram, just the performance against LeBron James. That says enough. 2, I've got Dario Saric. He's had his games this year look good. And obviously, 1, Joel Embiid.
Okay. Nice. Gonzo, who do you have as your top 3 rookies?
At number 3, I have Dario Saric. At 2, I have Jaylen Brown. And at 1, I have, obviously, Joel Embiid.
I think that's going to be unanimous.
Yeah, it's unanimous. Definitely. I've actually got a little bit of a different take. I love Jaylen Brown. I think he's going to be fantastic. Well, he's already playing well, but he's going to be fantastic. Basically, Brad Stevens has already showed that he can throw Jaylen Brown in there in place of Jay Crowder. And his first game, he was matched up against LeBron, finished with 19 and 5 in about 35 minutes. He's averaging 8 points.
Yeah, and what? That tells you everything you need to know.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's averaging 8.3 on the season. Shooting it decently, too, 46.5%. So I've actually got Jaylen Brown right outside of my top 3. He's my, basically you could say 3B, or I've got him slid in there at 4. But before I go to –
Real quick, Pete, real quick.
Yeah.
You know how we were talking about your buddy betting Washington's up 34-10.
Wow.
On Boston. Your buddy got it right. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Wow. So I was totally wrong on that. So glad he actually went against what I was kind of going for.
All right, guys, if you're listening to our predictions to make bets, don't blame us if you lose.
Yeah, definitely do not blame us if you lose. But I want to touch on I kind of want to go a little bit different. I want to touch on a guy that he's in my top 5, and he's somebody that most people would not think about. It's Malcolm Delaney of the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
He's undrafted, coming out of Virginia Tech. He played overseas in the EuroLeague, and man, he's already playing 17 minutes a game as a backup point guard. Yes, he's behind Dennis Schroeder, so he's probably not going to start, but he's at a tie for 17th in the league as far as assists. Turnover ratio is 3.81 to 1. Easily, first in rookie rankings, second in assists, and 11th in scoring, 8th in three-point shooting, and 12th in minutes. So he's on his way up. I actually like him as a better point guard prospect right now than what Chris Dunn is looking like. So, but anyway, without further ado, getting to my top three, Dario Saric is 3. He kind of had a little bit of a slow start, but he's come on the last couple games. He's averaging 10.5 points, shooting 44.7%, and 62.5% from 3 in the last 4 games. He's second in rebounds and 4th in scoring among rookies. Number 2, Domantas Sabonis of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Nice. He was a little bit of a concern for me coming into the season and even after the first game or so. But he's shooting 44.9% and 47% from 3. He's been starting for the Thunder. Looks like he's going to keep that role all season. He's averaging 7.6 points and 4.4 rebounds in only 20 minutes a game. It's early, but his dad is Arvydas Sabonis. He played well in college, and I think he's going to kind of be a big piece for them going forward. So he can end up being one of the better pieces in the draft class. And number 1, unanimous, Joel Embiid of my 76ers. He's able to shoot the 3. He's able to block shots. He's able to take guys off the dribble. I mean, what can this guy not do?
He's got the Hakeem post moves.
Yeah, he's got Hakeem post moves. Great feel for the game, especially for someone that doesn't have a lot of basketball experience. Because remember, he didn't start playing basketball until late, in age compared to most players. And he sat out obviously 2 seasons. He's going to have to adjust a little bit more defensively, but he's already looking.
He's damn near blocking 3 shots a game.
Yeah, he's going to, as far as the class, he's looking high and above everybody else. Now is when the Sixers need to start taking the minute restrictions off. He's only at 21 minutes right now. He needs to be at least at 28 to 30 minutes and get a lot of playing time. Get him as many touches as you can. It's exciting to watch, even though the Sixers aren't winning, but he's unanimous number 1.
Yeah.
Going to the MVP race, yes, it is super early, but we figured we'll just throw it out. We'll do it week by week. Matt, going to you first this time. Who are we doing? I guess top 5 MVP
top 5.
In the race.
Yeah, top 5.
All right, give me your 5 to 1.
Okay, 5. I've got Chris Paul. 4, Kawhi Leonard, and here's my surprise. 3, I got Kemba Walker.
Ooh, yeah, you weren't kidding.
Yeah, 2, I've got Russell Westbrook, and 1, I'm going LeBron James.
Okay,
the Cavs have been basically the best team in the NBA so far. LeBron James is 22, 10 and 10, damn near. I mean, you don't have to say anything. It's right now. It's LeBron James.
Okay. Gonzo, 5 going 5 to 1. Who's your MVP candidates?
At number 5, I have Kevin Durant. At number 4, I have Kawhi Leonard. At 3, I have Blake Griffin actually over Chris Paul because Chris Paul actually did nothing against Russell Westbrook when he played against him. He got shut down. He looked like an old guy. I got LeBron at 2, and at number 1, I have George Hill.
Ooh,
George Hill, nice.
Wow, nice. Okay.
Here's the thing. Let me ask before everybody. Well, I'll wait till you're done, Pete. And I'll have a question of why. There's one guy we've probably all left off, and I think I know why. I'll let you go, Pete, because he may be on there.
I know. Yeah. And that was kind of my surprise, and that's a good segue. So I'll save that to the end and let you take it after I count down. 5, let's see. Let me pull it. I skipped over it. 5, I've got Kevin Durant. Number 4, I've got Blake Griffin. I just think, like Gonzo said, basically he's done a little bit better than Chris Paul has done. I've got Damian Lillard 3. I've got Kawhi Leonard 2. And I've got LeBron James number 1.
Okay, nice.
Now, kind of going off of all of our lists,
there's one
none
guy
of us said Russell Westbrook Or James
I did.
Harden?
I had Russell Westbrook at 2.
Oh, did you have Russell? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
James
sorry.
Harden was who I was alluding to, and
Okay.
I'm guessing the only reason I left him off was record. They're 4-3.
Right.
I think,
Right.
and that's the one thing about Lillard is, aren't they only like 4-3?
They are, but I'm just going off. I think they're going to get a little bit better. I think so. Just kind of tailoring off of that right now.
That's the only reason. Really, that's why I have Kemba Walker and Chris Paul on my list, just because their records are better.
Right.
I mean, and Charlotte's a shock, and if he's the best player on that team, he has to be on my top 5. He's been awesome for them.
I'd have to say, because the reason I have Lillard basically, I mean, he's averaging 32 points, 6 rebounds, shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
I wish they had a little bit better record, but yeah, Kemba's a big shock, and George Hill is a even bigger shock.
Huge. Yeah.
A reason why I put George Hill is, let's be honest, we all anticipated Utah to possibly make the playoffs, right? But I think George Hill adds another element to that team. He kind of pushes them over the top. Like, what does he average? Like 18 and 8 or 9 or something like that?
This is a team when healthy. I think many of us probably. I know I didn't have them that high just because. But this is a team who will probably be a top 3 team in the West if they're all healthy all year.
And let's be honest, if the Jazz team, if they can get in the first round and they play against the Clippers, or they play against a team like San Antonio, with George Hill on the court, they might beat those teams.
Mm-hmm. Hell, they'll give Golden State a run.
Like, if you
they're not going to beat Golden State, but they'll give them a run.
If you look at all of the games this year so far, for the most part, they've been in most of their games. Until late. I know they lost against Portland like the first, second game of the season, but they lost that game like late in the fourth quarter. It was close before then. They're not like getting blown out like throughout the whole game. A lot of times it's just towards the end they kind of lose a little bit. They shoot too many jump shots, and they don't do the things they did like the first 3 quarters. But that's part of when you get a new point guard. It's kind of one of those things where everybody's trying to fill each other out. I give them that.
And you know what? They're playing at a little different pace this year. They're playing at a faster pace, which I like.
They are. And Portland. Damian Lillard has some great numbers, but Damian Lillard he's had a few bad games where his shooting was really terrible. Mm-hmm. It's just
he got outdueled by Steph Curry the other day.
Mm-hmm. So me, I had to put George Hill because I see Utah as, honestly, when it's all said and done, this is my prediction. I think Utah will actually have a better record than Portland.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I would take that bet. I would say they will.
Yeah,
I'm with that.
I want to touch on something in the chat. I know it's kind of taken away from our our rankings, but I guess it does kind of play into teams overall. The Knicks are just awful right now. They're losing, by 12 to the Brooklyn Nets. Well,
it's 10 right now. It's 37. Yeah.
Carmelo is just awful, and I don't know what the Knicks can do. Basically, the report came out from Phil Jackson basically getting pissed off that the team's not running the triangle more often. I mean, come on. This team is just...
but we know what the problem is. It's Carmelo Anthony. He won't call him out. He just lets him do whatever he wants.
Right. It's not going to get any better. The Knicks are not making the playoffs.
No, I'm ashamed to say I'm off the second seed bandwagon.
Yeah, I hope so.
And amazingly, it's not Derrick Rose's fault.
No. And, if you were to say that the Knicks are going to even be a 7th or 8th seed right now, you'd be kind of drinking.
Yeah, yeah. And if they were playing, Derrick Rose is playing at a borderline all-star level again.
Yeah, and it's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so going back to kind of what I just want to get that out there because it's awful. And on Brooklyn's defense, Kenny Atkinson has that team playing way above expectations.
Yeah.
So,
and whoever it was in our Nets preview in the comment section said they'd be a top 10 offense. Hey,
yeah,
maybe he was right.
Yeah. All right, so that takes us into our weekly power rankings. We're going to do the top 5 teams each week as far as those go. So, Matt, I'm going to go to you first. Who,
Okay.
if you can, count it down from 5 to 1 for me.
Okay, 5, I have a tie. I've got Golden State and San Antonio at 5. At 4, I have the Charlotte Hornets. 3, the Thunder. 2, Clippers. 1, Cavs.
Okay. Gonzo, how about you?
At 5, I have the Golden State Warriors. At 4, I have the San Antonio Spurs. At 3, I have the Charlotte Hornets. I did not put the Thunder on my list because they haven't really played anybody. They played Philadelphia, Phoenix.
But they did beat the Clippers. So amazingly, they beat the Clippers, and I have the Clippers ahead of them.
Even then, they beat the Clippers. They beat them by 2.
They still beat them, though.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the wins are wins.
Okay. So the Thunder had the Sixers, the Suns, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, and the Miami Heat.
That Lakers game I think you can consider that a pretty good game because the Lakers have been much better than we thought, and they beat the Clippers. That's all that I need to know. They went into LA and beat them.
Yeah, they beat the Clippers by 2.
That was big because remember Utah went into Los Angeles and got blown out.
Yeah.
So
I can't put the Thunder high because I think the strength of schedule is not there. But go ahead, Gonzo.
Time out. I think the Lakers went into Utah, and Utah beat them.
Lakers went into Utah, and Utah did win. It was close, but what I'm saying is Utah went into with the Clippers, and the Clippers blew Utah. They blew Utah out.
Okay, all right. Number 2, LA Clippers, and number 1, Cleveland Cavaliers, obviously.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna count mine down. I do not have the Oklahoma City Thunder. I've actually got them 7th. I actually went ahead and did just from my own research. I did all 30 teams in a ranking. Just because the Warriors number 5, Spurs number 4. I've got the Atlanta Hawks at number 3.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Cool.
And I've got the Clippers at number 2, and of course the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 1. And I want to explain the Hawks because I think that yes, they did lose to the Lakers, they did lose to the Wizards. I think based on beating the Rockets, beating the Cavs, and they beat the Wizards, the first time.
And the Lakers loss is not a bad loss. I don't think that's a bad loss.
No. And I kind of go off the strength of schedule there because even with the Spurs, they played the Kings, the Pelicans, the Miami Heat. Now, they had good games. They lost to the Clippers. They lost to the Jazz once, beat the Jazz another game, and they beat the Warriors opening night. So I kind of was debating whether to have the Hawks 4, Spurs 3, but I went Hawks just because off their momentum win against the Cavs last night. We all kind of have teams that we like better than other teams, of course. The Cavs, you can't help but say they're going to be number 1 just based on the record. The Clippers, you can make a debate, whether they're 2 or they're 5 or they're not even ranked, just based off of schedule there as well. But a team that is fraudulent kind of in my mind is the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Hey, you know what? I got to stick. This is one of my picks in the preseason that I have to stick with. They're 6-1. I had them 4th in the West. So I can't come. They're 6-1, so I can't hop off the bandwagon. I've already hopped off Minnesota and New York. I can't hop off the Thunder now.
If you look at it, the Suns aren't great. The Timberwolves aren't looking good. Miami's not good, and the Sixers.
What about this? What if they beat Toronto tonight? That's a decent win.
If they can beat Toronto, they would jump ahead of the Hornets. For me, I've got the Hornets 6th. So they jump ahead of the Hornets, but they still wouldn't get in my top 5. They'd have to beat – for me to put the Thunder in the top 5, they've got to beat somebody like the Spurs, or they've got to take out the Warriors or something to get in that top 5. Or they could play a team like the Clippers, Jazz, and beat both of them back to back. Right now they're just not – they're not playing teams that are that great, in my opinion, other than, of course, they beat the Clippers, but they only beat them by 2. And if I remember correctly, Chris Paul didn't have a great game.
What I like about that win, though, is they went into Los Angeles and did it. I think that means you can go in on the road and beat the Clippers. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's the only loss the Clippers have had all year. The Clippers have handled everybody. They blew a good Detroit team out. They blew a good Utah team out. And in Los Angeles, and OKC was able to go in there and grind it out and get a tough win. I got to put them in the top 5. I know you guys aren't the biggest fans, and I probably will jump off to the wagon in 2 weeks when they're sitting at 10-8.
I think the numbers are fraudulent for Russ. I'm not saying Russ is a bad player. He's obviously one of the most athletic guys there, but he just doesn't do enough to me to make his teammates that much better. And that's what I wanted to see. I don't want to see him play bully ball and ISO and just do his own thing. Yes, you can put up great numbers, but what is your team going to look like long term throughout the season?
And Golden State.
Go ahead, Gonzo.
And Golden State proved a good point. Russ is so used to just going into the lane and taking people. Taking people off. And I'm not going to say off the dribble because I don't even think Russell Westbrook really has a great handle. It's more
he just blows by people.
Yeah, he just blows past people because he's so fast. Golden State took a lot of that away. Come to the hole, and they
walled him off.
And the way Russell Westbrook plays against a sub 500 team, he looks wonderful. When he starts playing elite teams, he looks average because he's not getting guys involved. Honestly, and I looked at this the other day. I'm looking at Steve Adams and I'm looking at Enes Kanter. I'm looking at some games this season that they played.
And those guys are studs.
Those guys can play basketball. Honestly, those guys, both of those guys can average 15 and 10. It's because Russell Westbrook is not utilizing them because he's trying to I don't know if he's trying to get triple doubles. And somebody posted a video the other day that Russell Westbrook's taking shots 19 seconds into the shot clock. Mm-hmm. That's bad basketball. I don't care if he made it or not. That means you're not even running plays.
He did that last year when they had Kevin Durant.
And you know what? Again, I go back to that. Kevin Durant did not leave OKC because he didn't like OKC. He left OKC because of Durant. I mean, because of Westbrook. He's a problem. You're not going to win with a guy like him.
I just want to know this. If Michael Jordan or Bird or Kobe or any of those guys played with Russell Westbrook, you think they would have wanted out?
Nope. And I'm tired of people keep saying, and this is the bad part about this generation of people that watch basketball. A lot of young people watch basketball now, right? So they're not really looking X's and O's. They're usually looking ESPN highlights, NBA TV highlights. They're looking at dunks, crossovers. They're looking at those things in basketball. But let's be honest. The same thing what we had in the ABA and the NBA. The ABA players were high-flying. They were scorers. They were highlight films. When they started playing against NBA talent, where the pace was slower, teams are running sets, guys were coming off screens, they struggled. Because guess what? The NBA players knew how to play basketball.
Only a couple dominated, Dr. J and the Iceman.
That's what I'm saying. There's only a few players that actually dominated. Other than that, NBA talent was so much more superior than ABA talent because they were smarter, they were more fundamental. And I'm tired of people keep saying that, the league is changing. LeBron James is a great player, not just because he's fast, he's strong. It's because he's smart. He's fundamentally sound.
Yes. That's why Kobe Bryant was so good.
He's taking smart shots. Kobe Bryant, he could run the floor. He had a great hand on the ball, but he was smart. He took smart. Sometimes he took bad shots, but those were good shots because he knew he could make those shots.
They were good shots for him.
Like Steph Curry. Man, Steph Curry shoots a lot of threes. Yeah, he does, but those are smart shots for him because he can make those. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention he can pass. He jumps in the lane for steals. He's not a very big guy, so you shouldn't expect man-to-man defense from somebody of his stature. He gets in the lanes, he gets steals. He's playing some type of defense. So he's fundamentally sound in some area of his game. Kawhi Leonard, very quiet. The way when you watch him play basketball, he's very boring to watch. But guess what? He's locking down on defense. He's taking smart shots. He's distributing the ball to people when he should. Tim Duncan, slow. You really don't. Everybody preferred to watch KG over Tim Duncan. But guess who has the most rings?
The big fundamental.
Because guess what? His name is the big fundamental for a reason. He could play defense. He took the smart shot. And people always say, well, he didn't. He wasn't the best of shooters. Yeah, he used the bank shot, but guess what? It worked. It was smart for him. It went in. He used it when he had to. So everybody zones have so much athleticism. Let me tell you something. Athleticism is overrated if you don't have the IQ. It means
Harold Miner.
Yes, if you could be the most athletic person in the world, but if you're an idiot, it won't translate to W's.
Gerald Green.
Period. It will not translate to W's, please. Mm-hmm. It will not. Part of the reason why, another example, one last example, I'm not going to be long. The Sixers. The Sixers could have more wins right now because they for the first few games, they were actually in mostly all those games, except for Atlanta. I saw them get blown out pretty bad against Atlanta. But right. The Sixers had a chance to win the first game against OKC. But guess what? Gerald Green wants to be the smart guy when really he's an idiot. Yeah, Gerald Henderson. That's what I mean. Gerald Henderson wants to be the smart guy and was an idiot late in the game and cost them. When you could have just simply gave the ball to Embiid, you gave it to one of the other guys for a wide open shot. You try to go in traffic on two people and score. That's stupid basketball.
Shove it right down your throat.
Because guess what? He wanted to rely on his athleticism. And guess what? That doesn't translate to wins. It can get you points sometimes, but it does not translate to wins. You have to be a smart basketball player if you want the W. Period.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of smart basketball, we're going to see what Russell Westbrook can bring tonight. Tipping off should be in just a few minutes. It's going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Toronto Raptors. Gonzo, I'm going to go right back to you. Who do you have taking this game?
I got Toronto winning by 5 or 10. 5 to 10, anywhere in between there.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Nice.
I'm rolling with them.
I think the Thunder actually take this one. The only reason I say that, Valanciunas is out for this game. Terrence Ross has just been called out for the game with an injury as well. So I don't know how much they're going to get out of Jakob Poeltl and, basically some of their perimeter guys. We'll see if Norman Powell can step in to Terrence Ross's role and do some things. But I think the Thunder take this one. We've also got coming up on ESPN at 9:30, the Spurs against the Houston Rockets. Gonzo, who do you got?
This is a hard one. But lately my predictions have been on point. I'm going with the Rockets.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay. Upsetting the Spurs. All right, Matt, what about you?
I'm with Gonzo. I'm going Houston Rockets. They always seem to play the San Antonio Spurs really well. It's one of those rivalry matchups. You got that I-10 matchup. It's always a big one.
Yeah, we're unanimous. I think James Harden goes off. He's going to kill Tony Parker. As far as being able to score, I think Eric Gordon has a good game this game. And you're going to see Clint Capella play a little bit more minutes than he normally does, and he's going to have a good game as well. Looking a little bit further ahead at the 10:30 games, want to highlight both of them. You've got the return of Harrison Barnes to Golden State. You got Dallas taking on Golden State. Is Golden State going to blow out Dallas, or do you think that Harrison Barnes can will Dallas to an upsetting win, Gonzo?
Blowout. Golden State wins. Period.
Okay. Matt.
Dang, I'm kind of torn on this. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be close. I think you're looking at a 5 to 7 point game. Golden State. I'm taking Golden State. A quick update. The Timberwolves are almost up by 30 on Orlando. I'm back on the bandwagon. My Timberwolves showed up, so I'm back on the bandwagon.
They're playing Orlando. Don't get too much.
It's in Orlando. Hey, I'll take any win. I'll take any road win I can get.
Orlando is not playing well at all this season, so it's the battle of the struggling team, so to speak. I've got to go with Golden State. I think they win by 14 or more. I just don't think that Dallas has enough to overtake them. I'm sorry, Lance, but can't go with the upset against the Warriors. And the last game I want to highlight.
Real quick in that Dallas Golden State game, let's get a Seth Curry, Steph Curry matchup throughout. Let's get a 4 or 5 minute stretch where they get to go at it.
That would be nice. I definitely want to see that. I did not even think about that, so I'm glad you brought it up, Matt. That would be exciting to watch them go kind of toe-to-toe. I think that Steph obviously is going to have the edge, but it'd be exciting to watch brother versus brother. So last game I want to touch on for tonight's game is the Clippers and the Blazers. Al-Farouq Amino is out in this game, just to let you guys know. Gonzo, who do you have, Clippers or Blazers?
I got Clippers by 8.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
I am going to go Los Angeles Clippers by 16. I think payback for last year in the playoffs.
Nice. I'm going to go opposite. I have to do at least one opposite pick. I've got the Blazers winning. I think that Mo Harkless steps up. I think Evan Turner has a decent game. He may not score a lot, but I think some of the intangibles will stick out. Mm-hmm. And McCollum and Lillard and Crabbe all go off in this game, and they narrowly beat the Clippers. I would say by anywhere from 3 to 6 points.
Okay.
That takes us into Thursday's games. There's not a lot to be excited about on Thursday. I wanted to touch on this game because we touched on how bad they were earlier. The New Orleans Pelicans are 0-8. They go into Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee is 4-3. They're not a bad team. But just kind of looking at the schedule, the Pelicans have a good chance to pull off an upset in this game. Gonzo, do you think they overtake the Bucks for the first win, or they go 0-9?
They go 0-9. Pelicans are a lottery pick team. Milwaukee by 10.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think Milwaukee's going to win this one. I'll say Milwaukee by 6.
Okay. I'm going for the New Orleans Pelicans to pull off the win. Buddy Hield shoots them to a win.
Yes.
I'm going to go.
Are we getting it 20 points from Buddy Hield?
We're going to get 22 points from Buddy Hield.
Yes.
And he's going to end up shooting them to a win. Narrow win by 1 to 3 points. I think they barely beat the Bucks, but
does this mean Buddy Hield creeps up on your rookie ladder?
He would creep up on my rookie ladder.
Nice.
Well, I got to see better performances from him, but we shall see there. The other game on Thursday I want to touch on is the second game of the TNT doubleheader, and then I'm going to go back to the first game on the doubleheader. But I want to touch on the Kings against the Lakers. People would have laughed at this game last season, but both teams have actually looked surprisingly good in their own right. Gonzo, who do you think takes this one, Lakers or Kings?
Lakers. Absolutely. Lakers. I don't want to say how many points, but it would be Lakers.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
I'm going the Los Angeles Lakers. I think the Kings are coming back down to earth. They had that nice, decent start, but they're going to turn into the Kings that we expect them to be. They're going to turn into the worst franchise in sports again. It's inevitable. They're already saying it's a 50-50 chance Cousins gets traded. That's not a good sign.
No. I think I've got to go unanimous here. I think Jordan Clarkson off the bench. Nick Young's been shooting pretty decent. Julius Randle has a good game. I mean, I think they just have too many pieces that the Kings can't compete with throughout the game. And want to touch on Dwayne Wade making his first appearance back to Miami. Now, we know that Miami's not a great team, but Chicago's also showed some shaky moments after a good start. Who takes this one, Gonzo, Chicago or Miami?
Wow. I'm going to go Miami by 4.
Ooh, okay. All right, Matt, who you got?
I am going to go – man, I think it's actually going to be close, but I'm going to go – I think the Bulls are going to have Wade's back. He's going to go in there, and the Bulls are going to get one.
Okay. I've got Miami squeaking out a win by 2. I think that a guy like Tyler Johnson or a Luke Babbitt could end up being kind of an X factor in this game, just because kind of the versatility, able to score, and Tyler Johnson can pass, kind of playing the backup point guard role. They got Josh Richardson back now, so curious to see kind of what he can do. I'm waiting for Deion Waiters to kind of have a huge breakout game as well. I think they narrowly beat them. And Chicago fans kind of throw their hands up in frustration after having a good start to the season. They're kind of where we thought they were going to be, right now. So going into Friday's games, you've got the Toronto Raptors and the Charlotte Hornets. Who you got, Gonzo?
The Charlotte Hornets versus who?
Toronto Raptors.
Charlotte. Charlotte. I'm not going to say a blowout, but Charlotte will win. Yeah, I think Charlotte's better than Toronto. I've always seen Toronto's fools go. So, yeah, Charlotte.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
I'll take the Hornets. Hornets by 4.
I'm going to say the same. I don't think DeRozan keeps up his scoring rate. He doesn't shoot it well enough consistently. Obviously, mid-range he's been good, but once teams can figure out that he can't shoot from 3, consistently, which they've already known that, but they're going to force him to. He's going to force some shots, and basically with the Hornets being a defensive first team, they're going to be able to stop them. Mm-hmm. Battle of the terrible Knicks against the not-so-great-looking Boston Celtics. Who takes this one, Gonzo?
Knicks.
Ooh, Knicks. Okay.
Knicks win.
All right.
I don't want to say about how many points, but because it's one of those things you just never know if Melo's going to do what he needs to do, and he's the big if on that team. But I think if they run an offense through Porzingis and D-Rose, I think they can beat Boston. Boston's another one of those teams. Everybody thought this Al Horford pick, and they're picking to be number 3 in the East. Yeah, stop smoking what you've been smoking because it's not true. They will not be a top 3. They might be an 8th seed in the East.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Both Keith and myself had Boston high, so we're hoping they kind of turn it around, but we'll have to see. All right, Matt. What about you?
I'm going to take the Knicks. Actually, I'm going to go with my Knicks. Hopefully, they can get one. Hopefully, they come back tonight. And I want to touch on the Celtics. I think what we're seeing this year may actually be proof they overachieved a little bit last year.
Yeah.
I think we all got fooled a little bit, and they're showing, well, maybe we weren't as good last year as our record said we were.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Knicks here. I'm going to say they squeak out a win against the Celtics. Just don't think right now with Horford being out, I just don't think they have enough, in regards to the Celtics. They haven't shown anything defensively. They've taken a huge step back on the defensive end this year. So Knicks all the way there. Thunder against the Clippers. Who you got?
Yes.
Clippers blowout this time.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
Oh, I'm going OKC again.
Uh-oh.
Give me the Thunder. Yes.
I got the Clip show. I just don't think I'm not high on until Russ can prove me wrong. And I will, for everybody that's listening, if OKC ends up, say they go, 12-2, I will eat my words and all day long say I was wrong on the podcast. But I just don't think that they can beat elite teams, and the Clippers are one of the better teams in the West right now, and they're not going to beat them. Spurs against the Detroit Pistons. Who you got, Gonzo?
Spurs blowout.
Blowout against the Pistons. Okay. What about you, Matt?
Man, I took the Pistons against the Clippers, and we saw what happened. But you know what? I'm going to roll the dice. Give me the Pistons.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going to roll the dice on this one and take a kind of a, big leap of faith, so to speak.
I think Stan's going to have them ready.
Yeah, I think so. That takes us into the next night. I'm going to cover the games through Saturday. Since we're doing a podcast on Sunday, I'll leave those games alone for now. But Saturday, you've got the Spurs matching up against the Rockets again. Gonzo, who do you have?
This time Spurs will win.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
I'm sticking with the Houston Rockets again.
Nice. Okay. I've got to go Spurs because after the upset against the Pistons, I think the Spurs come out hungry and they take out Harden and the Rockets this time after losing the last time. So I think they get it. Just kind of based on looking at the schedule, there's not a lot of other really great games out there that are really on the schedule that day. You could look at maybe the Pelicans could take out the Lakers. Do you think that could be true, Gonzo?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
The Pelicans against the Lakers?
Oh, Lakers. The Pelicans might go 0-15. The Pelicans suck.
Yeah.
They have no help for Anthony Davis. And this Buddy Hill stuff is driving me crazy. The man couldn't play in preseason. He couldn't play in summer league, and he can't play now.
Okay. Okay.
Man. Man.
Yeah, it's over for the Pelicans. They can get ready for that 1, 2, or 3 pick. Get ready for it. It's coming.
What about you, Matt? You think somehow, some way, the Pelicans can beat the Lakers?
Somehow, some way, the Pelicans will beat the Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow.
I think LA is not going to be up for this game. Those young guys are going to walk in there thinking they're going to win the game, and I think you're going to see a lackadaisical effort from the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Pelicans will capitalize. Buddy Hield is going to have a good game. I'm not guaranteeing 25 or anything, but he's going to play well.
Nice.
Because he's watching this right now, and he heard what Gonzo said. So now he has to go out and drop a bunch of buckets on the Lakers.
Yeah. I think, like I said, the buckets come against the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think actually in this game, I think Buddy Hield stinks it up, and the Lakers dominate because they're going to put Jordan Clarkson on Buddy Hield, and it's going to be over as far as the athleticism. Hield's not going to know what to do. And, sorry to say, the Pelicans he's still going to struggle. So, but I think that, they're going to end up getting their first win, in my opinion, like I said, against the Bucks. So, they're not going to go 0-15, I don't think. But I could be wrong, and we could see Alvin Gentry fired before too long. Saturday games were the remaining games. Nothing's too hot, like I said, on the schedule there. So that's probably going to be it for our predictions for the games because nothing else really stands out as far as a marquee matchup or anything like that we can kind of touch on. But before I go, I just want to let everybody know again, please go to iTunes. We are so thankful that you were able to support us through downloads, written reviews, the 5-star reviews, the views on YouTube, the likes on the videos, subscriptions for both iTunes and YouTube because we were able to get to number 1. We are still at number 1 as far as podcasts go. We want to keep that up. And we can only do that through your support through streaming us on iTunes, downloading us, subscribing to the podcast, and things like that. So please tell at least one friend. They'll tell somebody else, and we can get more and more subscribers, more listeners, more downloads, and that means more great content coming to your ears, possibly even more than twice a week if we can get consistently on the top of the charts and get some sponsorships behind us and go from there. So anything you guys want to touch on, Gonzo, Matt, anything you guys want to bring up before we go?
I think I've touched on everything that I had to say.
No, I think you guys hit everything.
Yeah.
All right. So just want to let everybody know we will be back on Sunday. Not quite sure what time yet, but we'll kind of do a week wrap-up and get ready for the next week of games and maybe some other topics, some hot takes, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you got anything you wanted to?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps us up for this one. Hope everybody enjoyed kind of our new segment that we're going to do. Like I said, week after week, we're going to touch on our top rookies, our top MVP race, and then our team rankings. We're going to do the top 5 best teams each week. So we're going to continue to break down game-by-game analysis and bring you the hottest takes. So thanks for listening to the Unquestionably Raw podcast, and we will be back at you on Sunday.